Writing gang, schooly gang, salutations. This time around for this video, I'm going to be going back to another one of my classics to make a conflict using only 3 simple activities. As I did with my Protagonist video, I'm going to be spicing this up a little bit, putting the method into practice to show you that it works by demonstrating it before your very eyes. Today, we're going to take a sample plot, and I'm going to use the Protagonist I actually came up with in my Protagonist video to simulate making a conflict for the story. And to spice things up, the random element this time is going to be I am not the one choosing the different sample answers to my activity questions. I'm going to let my lab assistant JJ help me with that. Now, if you happen to live in a household that for some reason doesn't have rats readily available, you can use any animal companion that you choose. So let's have a little bit of fun choosing the details I'm going to use to make my randomized conflict. Ready? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 3 activities from my old video, details you have to choose to create your conflict, which are a goal for your protagonist, a type of conflict, and 3 roadblocks that the protagonist will have to overcome to achieve their goal. There's only really 3 types of conflict, which is man versus man versus nature, or man versus self. So I'm just going to write those 3 things on 3 of these cards. But as for the other things, the protagonist's goal and the 3 roadblocks the protagonist has to overcome, what I'll do is give myself a minute for each of those things and just jot down as many ideas of those respective details as I can on these note cards. Combine them with the 3 types of conflict. I will then scatter these note cards over the bed, and all of them will be aligned with a little treat that JJ will be very interested in to make him more likely to actually choose one. Come on, help me make a conflict. Yeah, that'll go a lot better when there's a little treat on the edge of that. It's all up to my little buddy what I end up using, and do my best to make a conflict of them. Let's get started. So I've got my 3 separated categories from the 3 different activities of my conflict creation system here. And now the question is how to get JJ to choose them. Our rats happen to love soy-based dairy products. So I'm just going to take a little spoonful of tofutti cream cheese and slide it along the edge of all of these. Yeah, that should be enough to incentivize them. I have a lot of work to do here, so excuse me and enjoy a nice fade to black. This first up is going to be a goal that my protagonist has. I came up with 5 of these, and my friend JJ is going to choose one of them for me. Let's see what he picks. So JJ's first choice was to become a political leader. This will be the goal of my protagonist for the purposes of this conflict. For the next choice in details of my conflict, we have what type it will be. Man versus nature, or man versus self. JJ is apparently choosing the 4th wall. And he goes front and center again. He's chosen truly one of the toughest conflict styles to write, man versus nature. This will be a real challenge. And now for the final choice. JJ is going to pick 3 of these for me, and these are going to be 3 roadblocks that my protagonist will have to overcome in this conflict. His first choice, a dark secret is revealed. His second choice, some money gets stolen. And his third choice, good job buddy, so decisive. Give me that, give me my conflict. The main character is deceived. His Special thanks to our friend JJ here, which was a very good conflict for us to write together. So, according to the choices my good friend JJ made, I'm going to be drafting a conflict with my protagonist, wanting to become a political leader. He's going to be entangled in a man versus nature conflict. And along the way, he's going to be challenged by being deceived, getting money stolen, and having a dark secret revealed. And when I'm finished, I'll go over the outline with you to prove that this method of building your conflict from choices like these works. So, using the details that JJ picked for me, here's the conflict I came up for my protagonist, Jethro DeRegal. And this is a character I came up with in my protagonist activity demonstration video, so you can find him there to get a little more background on him. So Jethro wants to run for the office of city manager, and I've bolded the things that the details that refer to what's on my note cards for your viewing convenience. So Jethro's goal here is to run for the office of city manager, and he's doing this in a not-so-distant future where climate change has created extremely violent storms. So his main goal in becoming city manager is he wants funding to reinforce the city infrastructure and make it safer for people. Now, there's going to be characters who disagree with Jethro's use of city funds, but those people are only acting as minor antagonists. So the true struggle is going to be between Jethro and this massive, vicious, encroaching storm. So that's the man versus nature conflict right there. And in this story, the weather is going to play a crucial role here, creating a unique world. So in this speculative near future, storms are not just a minor inconvenience, and they can cause massive citywide lockdowns. And this puts the normal functioning of society on hold when superstorms sweep through. Now from that, many private sector businesses are cropping up to capitalize on it. So these companies are offering temporary shelters out in public places, and also developing custom home protection to reinforce your home. So this is some great world building here. You have a problem that's plaguing society, and the first people to jump at it are entrepreneurs. Now you have Jethro coming late to the party, who's trying to establish city-provided protections as well for people who can't afford to deal with these other businesses. The first conflict point, which comes from the dark secret being revealed that JJ chose, is that Jethro's father was a huge investor in oil, so he's actively worked against climate change activists before to keep their family afloat. When this comes out, it's going to gravely hurt his chances of getting into that office in this time where conservation is so important. My second conflict point here, so these are events that are going to actually happen in the story to further the conflict. And my second conflict point here is when a rival candidate's team sabotages one of Jethro's main campaign funders. So this is him losing some money from the note card. This is going to result in an investigation, and inevitably violence is going to break out between people working in the shadows to sabotage each other's campaigns. And even Jethro might be caught up in this at some point to inject some action into the story. That's not purely political. And for my third conflict point here, one of Jethro's informants is actually a double agent, so this person gives him a false lead about a storm, which is when he's deceived, as shown on the note card. So, because he's been deceived about when the storm is coming, he ends up having a rally on a day that everyone should really be in a shelter. That's going to make him look super bad, especially when he's running for this position that, in this world, is so involved with conservation. But he can turn this around by using his telekinetic abilities to save those caught in the storm. You can see more about the sci-fi twist of Jethro's telekinesis in my protagonist video. So this conflict conveys quite a variety of themes, and it can really be a nice way to look at political corruption through a speculative lens, because decisions of citizen safety are now becoming pieces to move around a board in political campaigns. Someone sabotaging Jethro's rally, which puts all of those citizens at risk, but it does really help his competitors. And this kind of stuff happens, not on such an obvious scale, but it's happening in the world today. And the man versus nature conflict also layers really nicely with the theme of class division, which I talked about in my protagonist video. And I'll put a link to that at the end of this video so you can find it easily. Because lower classes couldn't afford proper protection from the storm, so they would actually rely on men like Jethro to create publicly funded options. And all of this is going to create a lot of resentment between the classes, people who can't afford home customizations or maybe don't even have homes and can't afford to stay in the shelters offered by private businesses. Yeah, they're going to be pretty pissed at the people in higher social classes that can easily afford just to put great reinforcements on their own homes. And then you have to take into account that publicly funded shelters would cost extra tax money, which of course a higher class doesn't want to pay because they can afford to just reinforce their homes. It really sets the stage for a beautiful illustration of how public need can really divide classes. Whew, there it is, guys. Now that conflict was more of a challenge to write than coming up with the protagonist profile in that activity video. But that video has another couple great ways for you to formulate a huge part of your plot, just a few simple activities in a very short amount of time. So our conflict here today, thanks to my friend JJ, ended up being sort of a political thriller with a sci-fi twist. And it illustrates a lot of the things we're dealing with today. So all in all, I think that activity was an absolute win. If you like what I do with the Roadside Writer, please support me by just liking this video, clicking subscribe or the bell icon. You can support me on Patreon. If you need more intense writing help, you can visit my website or check out my writing course. As for my next video, I actually would love to put it in the hands of you guys and hear from you. What do you want me to do next? So drop me a comment down below in this video and let me know. Do you want to see more demonstrations like this video? Are you missing my old writing recipes videos? Do you want to see more kind of what not to do's? I also wanted to get started doing kind of like a writer's rant, inviting you guys to join in a discussion of things we hate as writers about writing or the industry in general. There's a lot of things right now that are, I know they're getting on everyone's nerves because they're on my last one. So let me know what you guys are interested in seeing and I'll gladly deliver it. Thank you guys again for tuning in. And from JJ and I, please be safe out there and take care of yourself. Roadside Writer, out.